Who doesn't love to get something for free, especially when it's a freebie while on your cruise? Or maybe I should actually clarify that since you've paid for your cruise, it's not actually free, but it is included in what you've already paid. Still, there are a number of things that you may not realize that are included in your vacation at no extra cost if you just know to ask for them. But I'll tell you all about them right now. Now, before I dive into the cruise freebies, I want to point out that Cruzely is quickly reaching 100,000 subscribers, thanks to people just like you. So, if you enjoy this video and you learned something, then I hope that you'll subscribe to reach that goal. Now, let's get to it. One of my favorite freebies on a cruise saves you so much space when packing. Many people don't realize before they sail that beach towels are provided at no extra charge. They're often in your room already when you arrive, or you can get one at the station on the pool deck. Having beach towels to use isn't too uncommon actually, as many hotels and resorts they offer towels for hanging out by the pool. But on a cruise, you are also allowed to take them in the port with you. So if you're headed to a beach excursion, you don't have to worry about where you're going to get a towel. And once you come back on the ship, you can just swap it out with a fresh one. Just know that they are free to use, but not to take home. If you do, there will be a charge on your account. The casino on the ship is arguably the most popular venue on board, and you might even find me there on your next cruise, probably playing some video poker. Evenings will be packed with players, and that can make it intimidating to jump in if you're not overly familiar with the game. You may not realize though that cruise ship casinos offer free lessons to players. They're typically in the mornings before the casino opens tables on the days at sea, but you can check your schedule for the other times. During these lessons, you can get the hang of playing without having to wager money or the stress of learning while more experienced players get annoyed. Of course, it's likely these courses are offered to entice more players in the casino during the cruise, so the cruise line still might make some money from them. Do you need another blanket or more pillows or anything else to make your room or bed more comfortable? Do not hesitate to ask. Just like a hotel on land, your cruise ship can supply you with lots of things that can make your room more comfy. This includes things like extra blankets or ice, since there are no ice machines down the hall like in a hotel. You can also have pillows and towels and a lot more. Are you traveling with a baby? When I first cruised with my son, he was about 9 months old, and frankly, I wasn't sure where he would sleep. I didn't want to have to bring a pack and play as they can be heavy and bulky, especially if you have to fly to a cruise port. But just like a bed is included in your room for you, a spot for your child to sleep is also available for your cabin and at no extra charge. Cruise lines, they will provide a pack and play or a crib. It really depends on what the cruise line has in stock at no extra charge to you. All you need to do is contact the cruise line ahead of the trip and let them know that you'll need one. It should be in your room whenever you arrive, but if not, just ask your room steward. They can get you squared away. In the good old days, it used to be that room service on the ship, it was included at no charge. These days, most cruise lines now charge for the service, either a flat fee to get whatever you want, or you are charged a menu price based on what you order. What is still included for free, however, are many, though not all, breakfast items. There are normally hang tags that you can fill out with your order and put them on your door the night before. They are then picked up that evening, and the next morning, your breakfast is delivered. So you can have breakfast in your bed instead of having to head to the dining room or the buffet. Any parent that has cruised before knows that the kids areas are one of the best deals in cruising, and I am one of those parents. These spots, they are included with your cruise fare, providing a place where parents can drop off children and they have lots to do while also being supervised by the crew members. So parents get a spot where they can leave the kids and enjoy the cruise on their own terms, while the kids get a place where they can play games and interact with others their own age. It really is a win-win for everyone. Best of all, these spots, they are included with the cruise fare, and there's no charge for most hours during the day, although sometimes late night stays can invoke a small fee. If you have a kid that's not a strong swimmer, a cruise ship can be both a good and bad place to have fun in the water. First, the bad. With the ship moving, even slight rocking can send water rushing from one side of the pool to the other. That can make it much more difficult to swim as you get pushed around by the current. But there's also the good. First, lifeguards. They are on duty to keep an eye on things, even though that's not a reason to not keep an eye on your kid as a parent. But cruise ships also have life jackets for free that kids can wear whenever they need to. They're typically on stands by the pool, and you just grab one and then return it when you're done. If you're sailing on a ship with multiple pools, you might have to go to the main pool to find them and then go swim wherever you want. One of my guilty pleasures, coming back to a cool air-conditioned cabin after a long day in a hot port or hanging out by the pool and just completely relaxing while watching some TV. Now, I will be honest, the TV on cruise ships, it leaves a lot to be desired. There are only a handful of channels, and most of those are related to the cruise itself, like channels with port information. But I've found most lines have on-demand movies these days, and a decent portion of them are free. It's certainly not all, but there are usually some recently released big-name films available at no extra charge. So if you're the sort of person that always has movies that you want to see but you can't find the time, taking a cruise can be a good opportunity to catch up. Everyone knows that food is included in your cruise fare, though most cruise lines still have many places that are an extra charge. But what many people don't realize is that you can order multiple entrees in the dining room at no extra cost. When you visit the dining room, you'll be given a menu and then asked what you'd like to eat for each course. What isn't always clear, however, is that you aren't just limited to one of each. Want to try a couple of different appetizers? Sure, go right ahead. Is one entree not enough for how hungry you actually are? You can order multiples. Now, some lines are charging for additional entrees, but it's often free. And if there is a charge, it's likely to be minimal. The ship's spa, it can cost a small fortune for any sort of treatment. Massages run well into the $100 to $200 range for a 50-minute procedure, and that's just a start. But also in the spa, usually it's the ship's gym. It's completely free to use even if you have to walk through the spa to get there. And if you're expecting some old gym with a few pieces of rundown equipment tucked into the corner, like a cheap motel, cruise ship gyms are nicely appointed, usually large, and they offer some of the best views anywhere on the ship. They typically have floor-to-ceiling windows that look out over the water. Are you vegetarian? Are you vegan or maybe gluten-free? No matter your diet, the cruise ship can accommodate you. With literally millions of passengers sailing each year, if it's a special diet, then the cruise lines have seen it. The great news is that you will have a number of options to accommodate your diet, and items can even be specially made if need be. The better news? There's no charge for special accommodations. All you need to do is to let the dining staff know, and they usually ask at the start of the meal if you have a special diet or allergies, and then they can ensure that your meal meets whatever diet that you might have. Do you have mobility issues making it harder to get around? That's where a cruise can be ideal in that the ships are easy to get around and everything is in a relatively small space. But off the ship, it can be a little bit tougher to get from point A to point B if you have issues walking. So one nice thing that is included in your cruise fare is that most ports will have a complimentary shuttle that gets you up and down the pier. In some cases, the pier where the ship docks can be more than 1,000 feet long, and then there are also multiple piers. It's not unheard of to have to walk a quarter mile just to get from the ship outside of the port area. If that sounds daunting to you, there will usually be a spot right by the ship to grab a shuttle ride up and down the pier. Not only does it save you from having to walk so far, but frankly, it's also faster to get back and forth. Now, I have a family member with a disability, and when my wife was looking at a girls' trip with her, I strongly suggested that they take a cruise. That's because if someone has a disability, I can think of no better vacation. Today's ships, they have all sorts of ways to cater to different impairments, and they are all included in the cruise fare. Accessible cabins, they cost the same as regular cabins despite offering more space and features. Are you hearing impaired? There are all sorts of amenities available, like assistive headsets and even sign language interpreters at no charge. There are also large print menus and large print daily schedules available for guests that need them if there's a vision issue. It's all included with your cruise, but if you do have a disability, it's a good idea to call ahead so the ship can ensure that they have everything needed to cater to you. In flying, even the legacy airlines these days charge you a fortune if you want to bring checked luggage. First things first, cruise lines, they don't charge luggage fees. Bring big bags or small bags or anything in between, there's no charge. But one thing you might not realize is that luggage service is also included in your cruise fare. All you have to do is drop your bags off with a porter. It's customary to tip them $1 or $2 per bag, and it will then be taken, loaded on the ship, and then delivered to your cabin later that evening. At the end of the trip, it is the same process. You set your bags outside of your room. They will be taken down from the ship and put in the cruise terminal. This way, they're waiting for you when you debark. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you learned a thing or two about what's included in your cruise fare that maybe you didn't know before. For more on everything cruising, you can always visit Cruzely.com for all sorts of tips and advice. And remember, Cruzely is almost to 100,000 subscribers, so if you like this video, I hope that you'll go ahead and subscribe as well. Until next time, happy sailing.